Da, 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 ta-da! Hello, hello, hello. It's Dr. G, and welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad you stopped by. Today is Monday, and I have been having it on my heart to talk a little bit about mindset. Today, Mindset Monday, a little alliteration for you. So, the mindset issue that I like to talk about is how are you reacting to all of the things that are happening around us right now? How are you reacting to it? How are you reacting to the pandemic, the political situation? Maybe you have had a hit to your economics because of both of these situations. How are you reacting? Maybe you are in business. Maybe you've started a business during this time. Maybe you just started a business just before everything went down and you're like, how is this going to work? How am I going to have success? Maybe you are literally in the position where things are rolling and maybe your things are chugging along and you're surrounding yourself, you're doing all the things. You're surrounding yourself with people who are going to continue to uplift you. And as a consequence, everyone in the peer group rises higher. Maybe that's you. Well, then consider yourself lucky because a lot of people are having a really rough time right now with mindset. Really rough. It is so easy to be bogged down by the stressors that surround us and to lose focus on the goal, which is you having success. And so success means something different to you. It means something different to me. And it is really not something that is standard and worthy of comparison. And so when you find yourself comparing yourself to someone who is maybe a little bit further ahead, it just doesn't make sense. You have to run your own race. You have to walk in your own shoes. And comparing yourself to someone who has perhaps had different obstacles, maybe different pathways that they followed, is just not fair to you. Because guess what? They may be on their final chapters of their book. You may be just in the middle or at the very beginning. Can't compare apples to oranges. You can only compare apples to apples. And guess what? You're the only apple. You're unique. So it's not worth comparing. Now, if you're going to be looking at someone who is more successful, so to speak, quote unquote, I say that with the quotes. If you're going to look at somebody who is successful for clues that they leave behind because they say success leaves clues, that's different. But if you're going to be comparing yourself and saying, oh my goodness, I started my podcast 2 months ago and I don't have 100,000 downloads like this other person. Okay, but did you have 100,000 people on your mailing list like that other person? Or did you have a ginormous social network like this other person? Cannot bog yourself down with the drudgery of comparison. It's just not worth it. So on this Mindset Monday, I want you to instead, whenever you feel like you want to do that, just think about, well, who can I uplift? How can I make somebody's day better today? And so I was thinking about this morning because I was kind of in a little bit of a funk. I was there, there's a business that I'm working on, and I kind of was comparing myself to somebody else in the business who has a very different pathway than myself. And I know cognitively that is just not right, that is detrimental to my progress, but it happened anyway. And so in the defense of me and my psyche, I essentially said, okay, well, I'm going to uplift some people today. And so I put a post on Instagram, and I literally put a post out, and I said, I put it on the page for the, I don't know if you could see it, but here's the post, right? Ooh, that's kind of funky because it has like the see-through from the green screen. That's pretty cool. So anyway, the post said, share your show. And I just was curious to see who was going to throw their hat in the ring and share their show. And I was pleasantly surprised. You know, several of the, well, actually, it turned out that 3 individuals shared their shows, and they happen to be 3 physicians, which is very cool because there are not a ton of physician podcasters. Actually, we're working on getting more of our voices out there amplified so our tribe can, be a part of that. But it was very cool because this gives me an opportunity to now uplift these 3 physicians and their podcasts. And it is helpful to all of us because not only are they getting an uplift, but you are getting an opportunity to be exposed to their awesomeness, to their zone of genius, right? And so that is phenomenal. So I just wanted to share these shows with you. And the first one is the Millennial Health Podcast. And I'm going to show you the page for that. And it is by Dr. JaySheree. And she's amazing. She's an amazing doctor. She was actually on my podcast a little bit ago. And she shares her story. Very amazing story. We have several things in common, actually, because she's Jamaican, just like me. The 2 of us Jamaican. Big up Jamaica. And so she is sharing her zone of genius with the world through her podcast. So if you are interested, please go and check out her show. Subscribe, leave a positive comment, and share it with someone else. The next individual is Dr. Andrew Tisser. And Dr. Tisser has a podcast called Talk to Me, Doc. Great podcast. And I mean, look at the really interesting topics that he covers. He talks about social media or just media with the amazing Dr. Donna Correal. Fantastic. He talks to Melanie Greenberg about the stress-proof brain. Like, how do you do that? How do you accomplish that? Why? And this is one by Bradley Block, where he talks about why physicians should not podcast and goes into that very interesting conversation. So these are amazing topics. This is another great show to check out. So check out Dr. Tisser's podcast called Talk to Me, Doc. Okay. And then last but not least, the amazing, the phenomenal, the magnificent, super awesome Dr. Kimmy. She has a podcast called Productive on Purpose. And her podcast is pure fire. Just like Dr. JaySheree's and just like Dr. Tisser, her podcast is pure fire. So she talks a lot about how to be productive. She focuses on how can you, monetize things that you're currently doing in your zone of genius, how to push yourself, how to prioritize, how to figure out when you're procrastinating. Good stuff. Very practical, right? And I'm just going to go back to Dr. JaySheree's page. And so you can see kind of some of the episodes that she has. So prioritizing health and well-being with Dr. Tucson Odansi. And she talks about where's the reset button. We all need this, right? We all need a reset button. And then racism is a public health crisis. That is very timely. So, these podcasts are amazing. So definitely go and check them out. Check them out, subscribe, leave a positive comment, and share. Because guess what? When we uplift each other, when we basically give each other a boost, what happens? We all are able to rise that much higher. So and this is a little bit selfish on my part, I'm just going to admit it. I was having a moment this morning. I literally was having a mindset struggle. And I was comparing myself. I fell into the trap of comparison. And I said, you know what? Instead of me sitting here comparing myself to someone who is in a different pair of shoes than my own, different pathways, different obstacles, different everything, I'm just going to see who I can uplift today. And these 3 physicians threw their names in the hat, and they had no idea I was going to do this, but they threw their names in the hat and boom, they're getting an uplift. And I hope that we pass on the goodness, because this is what helps us all to rise that much higher. So the Millennial Health Podcast with Dr. JaySheree, Talk to Me Doc with Dr. Andrew Tisser, and then Productive on Purpose with Dr. Kimmy. So go ahead, check these shows out. Like I said, subscribe to them, leave a positive comment, share them, because guess what? We all need to uplift. So let's turn that negativity that we are experiencing, that whole stress about what's happening, the whole comparison game, and let's instead uplift another, because it's definitely boomerangs and comes right back many, many fold. So I'm Dr. G. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you're on Facebook, please do me a solid and hit the like button, drop a hashtag replay, and share the broadcast with a friend. Friends always share great content with other friends. That's what great friends do. And then if you're on YouTube, please feel free to go ahead and hit the subscribe button right there and drop me a like. I really appreciate you. And I hope that you will tune in next time. This is Dr. G. Be brave, be strong, and unleash your greatness. Have an amazing day.